Hello everyone, my name is Al, and welcome to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today, in the top right, a blue Terran player from South Korea, we have Byun. In the opposite corner, a red Terran player from the Netherlands, we have Euthermal. This is Byun versus Euthermal on the map Cosmic Sapphire. Now I know what you're thinking. TVT? Really, Isle? Is this the best you can give us, TVT? Probably not. But I'm still planning on doing a lot of casting, so don't stress too much about it. The reason why I picked this one is because of the players. And, well, that's the one reason. The other reason is that I actually haven't done a TVT yet. So, you know, in my quest to become a well-balanced caster, I thought it should be appropriate to, you know, make sure that I'm finding all, or at least casting, all different types of matches. So I've done PVZs, PVPs, and ZVZs, but I haven't done any TVTs. Again, I know you're thinking, but TVT, really? Well, let's find the beauty in this matchup. First of all, one of the big things that I found really beautiful in this matchup is that I am not able to do anything nearly close to what these players are able to do. I find TVT to be such a difficult matchup, like really hard. I think all of them have this level of volatility, you know. PvP can end with 2 adepts coming into your main at a time when you shouldn't have. And ZVZ, it takes one big baneling explosion on your Zerglings for you to lose everything. So they're explosive matches. Now TVT for me is a lot more difficult because there's much less fluidity, if I can say that. Like Zerg units, they're quick, you're moving around the map, it's constant like this back and forth, the dance. And to an extent the same with Protoss versus Protoss. It's about your Blink Stalkers, it's about microing them better than your opponents, taking into the correct choice, you know, all of those things. TVT isn't like that because it's tank lines versus tank lines and essentially marines and stuff. So sometimes we see players going for other types of things, like Byun likes to be super aggressive with his marines. So we're hoping that he's going to do something interesting here for us. But yeah, it's a different type of game and you've got to be really tight. These players have got to be tight in the things that they do. The positioning is so important. You've got to be moving your tanks around, making sure they're in the right position, making sure that you're defended from all angles, because essentially your opponent is building the exact same. What I also really like is the kind of balance between making sure as a Terran you've got enough tanks, but also making sure that you've got enough air support to back up those tanks. So obviously starting with your Vikings and then going into Ravens, which obviously have a lot of utility. Now, not only do we have that complex tank lines, but you've got things like this with the Reapers and the Hellions that they can end a match really early. At this stage, they're not going to because they're just kind of both having a look up and down. Byun deciding to go for a Cyclone. So anyway, they're just kind of shifting them back and forward, making sure they're all positioned exactly the way they want. This is not just done casually, this is actually for a reason, trying to get to make sure each of his units can get off the first shot. Now we see 4 Reapers and 3 Hellions moving across. How will Byun deal with this? Now there is a difference in that Byun's going for a Banshee and Euthermal is going for the Raven. A couple of mines being thrown out, 2 Cyclones here for Byun. Euthermal decides, okay, I'm going home. Or is he? Anyway, about these 2 players, I'm going to start with Euthermal. So Euthermal from the Netherlands he's a little bit of a unique Terran player. He plays the standard, the normal play style, but every now and then Euthermal likes to do some strange things. And I think that's kind of one of the things that makes him really exciting. He's very good Terran, don't get me wrong. But every now and then he's almost Gumiho-esque in that sometimes he'll just bring like this quite a random build order, but often it can do quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, Byun just kind of having a look here. And that brings me to this player, Byun. Micro Jackson himself. This Banshee's not going to get much done. I mean, this man, if you don't know him, you haven't been watching StarCraft lately. He got the Reaper nerfed twice. This should be a nice little catch. Did he even get any workers done? 5 workers, not too bad, not too bad. So yeah, he got the Reaper nerfed twice, and his standout feature, far and above everything, is his micro. He is able to do some insane things with his units. His control is fantastic. Now that's not to say he's bad at macroing, not by any stretch. But Bjorn is really good controlling each of his units, especially these boys. Bjorn loves the Marine. I reckon if Marines were the only units he was able to build, he would be quite happy with that. And he's very good with Ghosts, he's very good with his Ravens, his tanks, everything. But often he just does some insane things with his Marines. He splits them, he takes on everything, and sometimes it feels like his counter to everything is just the Marine. And I know, Zerg and Protoss players, you're going to be sitting there thinking like, yeah, but isn't that the Terran counter to everything? No, not quite. Bjorn just sometimes makes it feel that way. I mean, Marines are good, don't get me wrong, they are very good. Oh no, you're in trouble. And that's one roasted Marine. Oh, shame, look at him. There we go, he feels like a Marine barbecue. Marine barbecue? Barbecued Marine. That's the one. Somewhere along there, there's the right words. Okay, Euthermal's coming through with quite a large army here. Trying to stop the Sturge. He's gonna get it right. Tanks are gonna siege up. And here we go, the positioning. At this stage, 4 tanks for Bjorn, 2 for Euthermal. But this is okay. Euthermal's denying that one while at the same time getting his own up. We see the Vikings coming along. They were flying across here somewhere. I missed them. There they are. So Euthermal going straight into that air Terran army that's going to support. Not that Bjorn isn't. He's also got about 4 Vikings out. We can have a look at the units. 2 Ravens each. Tank close. Tank count pretty close. And 4 to 6 Vikings. Not much of a difference. This army's gonna walk on home. It's okay. Bjorn's gonna be able to take this. It does put Euthermal at a little bit of a lead because he's got SCVs mining already. He's got some mules going. Very good stuff for him there. This base will land for Bjorn and he's going to be happy to get that one up. Now in terms of the upgrades, we have the double armory going with +1/+1 for Euthermal. Bjorn on the other hand, no, that's combat shields. He's gone for the double NG bay with his his +1 for the infantry. So does this mean that Euthermal's going to go for a slightly more mech focused? I think so, considering that there's a bunch of extra factories going down. So is he going to be making too many more Marines? I don't think so. He's probably going to focus more on the tanks, the Vikings, which I thought when I tried playing Terran for a little while, I thought that's a very good combination. Because Marines, they just die. They've got 1,000,000 DPS, but they... That's an interesting fight. The Marine win! Never mind, the Marine dies. So yeah, I thought that was a very good combination, because Marines have got 1,000,000 DPS, but they die when something blows in their direction. So it's a very tricky composition to manage. Somewhere there's the right words. But we'll see how these two players pull it off. Cyclone going to be a bit annoying. Sieging up. It's going to be explosive. Vikings going to town with each other. Ooh. Euthermal getting rid of or disabling 4 of the tanks. Euthermal's just lacking a little bit on his own tank count. There's one more coming to reinforce. 3 to 3 standing, staring at each other. Bjorn's army getting so angry, they're just hitting the rocks. Scans coming down. Euthermal going to retreat. Slight. Ooh. Interesting. Vikings fighting Vikings on the ground. That is not something you see every day. It's one in the air having a good time. Yeah, so Bjorn's won the air battle. I said that. These must be reinforcements. Not too bad then. Anyway, we see another command center coming up for Euthermal. couple of more Hellions, plus two, excuse me, coming up. So he is definitely going for that more mech focused, whereas Björn is getting Marauders and Marines. So he's going to go for the Marine tank, the conventional style. At the same time, Björn's 4th base is up. That's very good. Workers, dead even. There is a barracks flying across. Probably just to scout for drops and things like that. Ooh, Björn's expanding very aggressively. At the same time, he's moving his army across the map. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. Started out well, and now my words have all just gone to fizzle into nothingness. Björn setting up on the edge. I actually wonder, can you thermal see that? If I can press the right button. He actually can't. He does see that. Yeah, and he scans the bunch of infantry moving across. They are just walking a little bit back and forth. Hellion's gonna go for nothing. So the dance continues between these two. And at the same time, it's just scanning. If you don't like that sound, yeah, then TVT might bother you a little bit. See if these Hellions can get anything done. Seize the planetary. They're not gonna try too much there. Tank decides to try to hit them a little bit. With the blue flame, they could get a bit of damage done. Not as much as I think he would have wanted to get. 8 there. I wonder why my notification's not coming up. I think I may have disabled something. I'm just going to check this quickly. Going back, no, everything is enabled. Probably just didn't kill enough workers. Very aggressive push in here by Björn. Landed Vikings again. I guess he doesn't have enough to take on the air army. He's got medevacs. Interesting. I guess because he's trying to get a little bit creative with his army. Your thermal, I think, should defend this okay. So this is where the positioning becomes so important. This base is gonna lift up. Bunch of reinforcements coming in for Björn. He's coming in from a bunch of angles. These Marauders are going to be good against the tanks. They're a little bit more hardy against the tanks. They've got a bit more armor. But the Vikings landing, he's getting a bit of damage done. They're so low health though. He needs his medevacs. I think they all got taken out. So yeah, this infantry army, it's pretty low health. He needs to be careful with it. It takes just 1 or 2 tank volleys and he's going to lose a lot. The thermal already going for the Liberators. Now this is fantastic. Just to get rid of those tank lines. This is the very complex part that I find. There you go. Give it plenty. We did see some Hellions moving across there. But anyway, this is the complex thing because you've got to control your tanks, leapfrogging them back and forward. You've got to control your Liberators, leapfrogging them back and forward, while protecting them with your Vikings, protecting your tanks with your Marines. It's such a juggling act. Alright, here we go. Björn setting up. Liberators are set up here. This should be a decent defense, although reinforcements coming in again. These tanks just holding their position. Okay, Björn's a little bit in the lead of army supply. He's looking good. If we look at the resources lost, pretty even. A little bit more gas lost for you thermal. This army is now being healed up. Some of the medics are there. They're getting loaded up. And Björn's going to start playing, or at least attacking, on 2 different fronts. Upgrades looking good so far for both players. 2-2 and then the +1 vehicle upgrades. Björn on the other hand, he's just got his euthermal, excuse me. He's got his 2-2 for the vehicles. Let's have a look. They're just unloading, still trying to deal a little bit of damage here. Stopping that 4th base from coming up. Liberator doing its job there, zoning everything away. Björn trying to get rid of those Hellions. Yeah, they're a little bit on a suicide run. Nothing major going to happen there. I feel like Euthermal's a little bit behind. I don't disagree with the mech, but also I'm very bad at this matchup, so I should probably not be listened to when it comes to those things. Ooh, 24 versus 19 workers lost. A bunch of workers going down. I'm getting too focused on everything here. There is so much going on. These guys are all over the map. Yeah, sorry, Marine. You are not meant for this world. just scanning. That's interesting. Hellions turning into Hellbats right next to the tank, getting rid of it. Good use there. Ooh, big push in here by Björn. Marauders going heavy into these tanks. They don't mind taking a couple of shots against them. Björn pushing in with his own tanks. The Liberators are being set up for Euthermal. Now, the problem with Marauders is they can't shoot up, but there seems to be enough to have gotten rid of it. Björn's making an aggressive push into this base, into the natural. He's getting a lot of damage there. He's got to be careful with his stimming though. It's a lot of workers going down. Joe, you can't stim too much more, otherwise this entire army just dies. Good damage done though. It's a lot of workers killed. This stage, I don't think he actually minds too much. He's doing so much damage with these Marauders. That is a very cool idea to go into the Marauders. They're a little bit, well, I mean a little bit. They're a lot better against the tanks. So, yeah, obviously they're a bit more gas heavy. It's going to cut into your tank production, but when you're, excuse me, when you're as aggressive as Björn, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, here we go. Marines out. Bang. They got hit by a tank. Euthermal now trying to aggressively go for the gold base. Bold move. Let's see how it works for him. 3-3 is done for Björn, so he's a little bit up in upgrades. Liberator going to have a look. Here we go. Get rid of the barracks. Don't think he sees that Liberator floating past. No, he would have missed it. Björn's going very heavy into the infantry. This stage just one tank producing at a time, while Euthermal's got a little bit more. He's got 2 and a bunch of Hellions. Okay, still trying to get some damage done with the Hellions, trying to run them by. They roast another Marine. That poor Marine. He had high hopes. Okay, so 1 Marine versus a Planetary. We know who wins. Yeah, I think those run-bys are a little bit desperate. Euthermal is down in supply. I don't know if you noticed there, but the APM for Björn at that moment was over 800. 800! How fast is this man? Okay, Euthermal setting up here in the middle of the map. Björn's gonna say like, nope, I'm not engaging into that. Although if you come too far forward, then he's gonna be happy to jump on it. Loading up a bunch. He's moving half of the army away. Gonna get aggressive with these 3 medevacs. The slow mech push from Euthermal continues. Now this is going to be dangerous. Hello, Marines. Björn's just going to try slow this down a little bit, at the same time allowing these medevacs to get their damage done. Jumping on this army, that siege tank siege up, then he pulls back. There comes the drop. This base has to lift again. Euthermal's struggling to keep this base alive. Dealing a bunch of good damage here. Workers lost so far, 39 to 36. It's a lot of worker kills on both sides. More going down now. These armies in the meantime in the middle, just trying to move around. Björn's kind of keeping Euthermal at bay. He's ahead in supply, and that is the victory for Björn. Very interesting use of the Marauder, where we normally only see Marines, tanks, and Vikings, with some Ravens for support. Euthermal also going for the mech, so quite an interesting differing playstyles of what we normally expect from TVT. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this game. It was a lot of fun to cast. I think getting Björn on the channel is very nice. I'm going to look for some more Björn games, because I know he's generally quite favored in the StarCraft scene, just because he's such an exciting player to watch. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this, please make sure to drop a like on the video. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate all the support. If you want to see more StarCraft content, make sure to subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.